Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Conical Supremacy. Hope you're having a beautiful day wherever you are. It sure is here in Santa Ana, California. Today it's going to be an incredible show because we have the legendary Dan Barrett.
Thank you very much. Hi, everyone.
Super fun. That was so super fun.
Yeah, guys.
That was so super. You stay right there.
What a party.
Let's
It's a
go.
party.
Come on up. So this is what's going to be today. What do you think?
I just could not take the smile off my face.
Oh, that's so cool.
It sounds incredible.
Well,
all
and
you guys.
I want to tell everybody out there, we've got a really great show for you today. I can't even begin to say how pleased I am. Fresh back from Europe, our special guest today is the one and only king of, as far as I'm concerned, king of swing trombone, Mr. Dan Barrett. And as most of you know, the guys in the rhythm section have become the Conical Supremacy House rhythm section. So Mark and Jimmy, you know them, and we've seen them, and that's why they're here. Anyway, so how was your week this week?
My week was great. Things have started up. School is back, and as chaotic as it is with all the COVID protocols, we are back in business. I met with 5 brass quintets this week. I met all my students. I got to go out for a couple of recording sessions.
I was going to say, you just finished up Lower Decks?
We did. We had the last episode of Star Trek Lower Decks.
And I know that was super fun for you.
Yeah. Chris Westlake, he writes the most beautiful things.
So everybody check out Chris Westlake. And if you haven't seen the show, it's hilarious, and the music is just awesome. Anything else going on?
Wow! It's just things are starting up. We're back in school. Everyone's staying healthy. That's the most
you were
important
telling me
thing.
about speaking of school. You were telling me about how cool it was. USC is making the brass quintets play outside in the quad, basically, right?
Right. To meet with the protocols set forth by the county, they're not allowing more than one person at a time in a room with aerosol producing instruments, which are any wind instruments.
Mm-hmm.
So the kids can practice by themselves, but we can't have lessons indoors, and we certainly can't have rehearsals indoors. So we have rehearsals outdoors, and it's just like the old days. There's music everywhere. It's
And that's what I wanted to bring up. You were so kind of stoked about it because you were sitting there. It's like the old days back when we were in school, and people are playing outside, and people are hanging out, eating their lunches, listening to live music being played, and how much better I think everybody feels because of it.
It's just great for us because we're out. People get to see what we do. If we're inside and trapped in these little classrooms, just playing for ourselves, I think that's only half the way. We got to get out and show people that what we do is cool and
important.
And important.
And it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
And it makes the players feel better and the audience feel better. So, like I said, today I had a good week, by the way.
Good. I can tell. I can hear. It sounds great.
Well, no, we had the guys. We played a gig last night. My first 4-hour gig in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, thank you. I appreciate that because, as both of Mark and Jim know, my lips were kind of hanging around my toes.
But may I add that your tuba looks beautiful. I don't know how much time it could shine this up.
No, I took what was that? Was that last week? I did that. I think it was last week. Okay. So here's the thing, and I don't want to hear from anybody out there because it's my horn and I'll do it to it what I want. But you're not kidding. Jimmy, you're right.
Really?
No, I'm. That's exactly what I used. I have a high pressure hose attachment. So I took it outside by the pool and I pulled all the slides out and I went to work with that and I basically high pressure hosed the inside of the horn out.
Okay.
So thank you. But it wasn't coming off,
right.
Parts of me weren't coming off. So I used the liquid version of Barkeeper's Choice.
Oh, okay.
That is a soft scrub that works on stainless steel, works on everything else like that. And since my horn is raw, I said, screw it, I'm doing it. And it took every inch of grime and rust off of it. And now it's back to that original rose brass. And like I told you, when I was at the factory at Zig's, when I was picking out the stuff, Zig brought me over to the wheels of brass and said, which one? So I actually picked out the brass for the body from the wheel. And the wheels were like this big. And, just it was really kind of a cool experience, the whole thing.
The wheels of brass.
The wheels of brass. There you go. Yeah. Well, anyway, enough of this banter. Why don't you grab the chair and the stand because we're going to do this right now. Okay. So I talked Doug into playing with us, and I'm really looking forward to this. And just hang in there. We're going to play another tune, and then we're going to speak to our guest and kind of pick his brain and see about his career and everything because I'm super stoked about doing this. So. This tune is called Sultry Serenade. Hey, do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Sure.
Yeah, here you go.
I have a little information.
Yeah, please.
Thanks, John. Doug, thanks for joining us. This is great.
So I'm going to do this.
Low brass rules, don't you know? So it's not often I get to play a song composed by a trombone player, but this tune was composed by a terrific trombonist. He had a very long career. Should I talk into this mic or that, or camera, or that camera, I mean? I don't know mics from cameras here. I'm technologically challenged, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah, this is a microphone, that's a camera. Oh, I got it. Okay. Anyway, the composer of this tune had a real long career. He began his career playing trombone and vibraphone with the Cab Calloway Orchestra in the middle 1930s. And after that, after leaving Cab Calloway's band, he did some freelance work around New York and wound up playing with Louis Armstrong's All-Stars. And he led groups of his own all through that time. His name is Tyree Glenn, and his son Tyree Jr. still continues to play out in the world. But he came up with this when he was with the Duke Ellington Orchestra after he left Cab Calloway. The original title is Sultry Serenade. And I guess in the 1950s, lyrics were added. I think even Frank Sinatra recorded it under the title of How Could You Do a Thing Like That to Me? Mama. All right, here we go. Yeah, this will be at a mellow tempo that will get us in the groove and swinging.
cool.
Nice job.
That was super cool. Way to go, Doug. Way to go, man. Outstanding. Anyway, so we got the one and only Dan Barrett here, and I think one of the Dan and I, we've known each other for quite a long time now. I mean, way back, and then again, and then I had the extreme pleasure of working with Dan 5 days a week at Disneyland for a number of years as well. And he was at Disneyland before I was, and then he was back at Disneyland again. So it's always a joy. One of my absolute favorite trombone players there is, and not only that, but you're a fabulous musician too, man. I mean, you really care.
Does that mean trombone players aren't musicians?
Can be. You know what? Let's do this since Doug's decided to bail out. I thought you were going to help me. Okay, thank you. But let's talk about the beginnings of your career, if you don't mind.
My checkered career.
Yeah. And I think the one thing that we do have in common is that we were talking before. 1981, you won the Southern Comfort Dixieland Championship.
Yeah, that was funny. Brian Shaw, very great local trumpet player, called and said that Southern Comfort was sponsoring a contest, and we had to submit in those days, a reel-to-reel tape with 4 songs, and one of the songs had to be When the Saints Go Marching In. And I was beginning to arrange for bands. I'd arranged for local Dixieland bands and bands that I'd led, so I wrote 4 arrangements, When the Saints Go Marching In and 3 other tunes. And we mailed it off, and I didn't expect to hear anything back. And then lo and behold, we found out we made the finals. So they flew us to St. Louis. Tommy Newsom was there. He was one of the judges. And we showed up in tuxedos because the old New Orleans bands, King Oliver's band and Jelly Roll Morton, they all wore tuxedos performing. So the other guys were in styrofoam straw hats, and and we showed up in tuxedos and looked a little different. And lo and behold, we won the contest. So Southern Comfort used us for 1 year, traveling around doing some advertising for them.
And in '84, that's when the Strutters won the same thing. Yeah, won the same thing. And that was kind of the really interesting thing, because then we went around and did a tour and this whole thing and all kinds of events and everything. And that's one of the reasons why I was going, when we were looking at going, that's Dan. Dan's in the band. And that's what's always sparked in my head. But that was kind of a great jumping off point, because you moved to New York right after that, right?
Right. Howard Alden, a brilliant guitarist from Huntington Beach, had spent a summer playing with the great vibraphonist Red Norvo in Atlantic City. And on his nights off, he would take the train up to Manhattan. This is in 1981, I think. And he had a great time in New York, and he came back to Southern California, and he said, Dan, I'm going to move to New York City. And I said, oh, that's great, Howard. And then 2 weeks later, Howard called and said, well, I'm in my new apartment. And I said, new apartment? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, where is that? And he said, 2nd Avenue and 78th Street. And I'm trying to think of an intersection in Hollywood where he used to live. And where is that in town? He said, well, it's on the Upper East Side. I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, I'm in Manhattan. He said, I told you I was going to move. And I said, yeah, well, that was 2 weeks ago. And he said, well, I moved. so
that's Howard, though.
So Howard convinced me. He said if I wanted to play jazz and the kind of jazz that I like to play, that I should come to New York City. So it was really at Howard's behest that I came to New York.
Yeah, but the big thing is, and this is what Doug and I were talking about. Do you want to ask about
the
Goodman?
The Benny Goodman.
Yeah. So
well, you played with Benny Goodman.
I did. And he let me live. He was a very nice man.
Well, okay, so he was not a young man.
No, he was. He died at 76 or 77, which doesn't now at my age doesn't seem all that old. But
I hear you.
Yeah.
Well, let's say that's a young man. But my question is, okay, so you're playing with someone who's been a legend for 4 decades already, and you come in there, and obviously you're very proficient at your instrument. But was there an instant of where you're kind of getting the style from the master? I mean, was he teaching the younger players at that point?
Well, I think those of us who were lucky enough to be in the band, we were there because we were already familiar with that
Sure.
style of playing, and that was really our bag.
Well, I get that, but I also think, I mean, when I was coming up, I learned everything I know about playing jazz rhythms from subbing in Jimmy Cleveland's band. They threw me in there, and it was sink or swim, and
Another
of the time,
great.
I just
Yeah.
watched it go by until I
Yeah.
figured out, okay, this doesn't sound the way it looks.
Yeah.
And you got, okay, but you're already really proficient. But I also know that people of my generation didn't do it the same way as the people who are a generation or two ahead of me. There's just these little distinctions of style. It's like, oh, that's how it's done.
True. Well, part two of my answer was Mr. Goodman would actually rehearse the band himself. A lot of the big bands had the term as straw bosses. Someone in the band who would take over the duties of rehearsing the band instead of the leader rehearsing the band himself or herself. But Goodman would actually stand in front of the band and rehearse the group, and got us to pay attention to, of course, intonation and balance, and mostly time.
Well, you hear re-recordings of music from that era, and then, I mean, on Sirius Radio, I've always got the 40s station on because I want to hear those arrangements with those players. And it's like, it was different. The way they dealt with time, the tempos, the way they felt the tempo. I mean, I guess my question is, apart from having the name, I played with Benny Goodman, did that experience enhance your own playing and open up kind of a new...
Oh, he taught us a great deal. Randy Sankey, the trumpet player, he said, Goodman paid us for lessons. We should have been paying him. For what he taught us. But again, most of us in the band were really immersed in that style. We lived in kind of the swing era. I was transcribing Fletcher Henderson arrangements and taking those recordings apart. I remember being in high school. My dad had a Goodman 78, and I was about 15. And I remember playing the 78, and I remember thinking, God, I wonder what it would be like. What would it be like to actually play in a band like that? And years later, it happened.
Well, go ahead. Let's take a listen.
Please.
Yeah, let's take a listen to this right now. Q, can we pull that up, please? So here's Dan Barrett with the one and only Benny Goodman.
I've never heard this.
Yeah, you won't now either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here's an old tune that I really like to play. It was originally composed as a waltz, and it's one of the older songs you'll hear on this set. I think it dates back to about 1920, give or take a couple of years on either side of 1920. I usually play it around Halloween because it's called If You Were the Only Ghoul in the World. Sorry. Here's Jimmy with 8 bars for us. Boop, boop. Boop, boop, boop. Out there, Jimmy. Huh? Okay. 8 bars of your finest. There we are. That's a beautiful old song.
It's a beautiful old song. So the question I had for you, man, because I got another clip I want to put up right here, is because you and I both get to play Dixieland so much, and then the natural progression to swing, and then the natural progression after swing, and whatnot, and the kind of Dixieland that we play at the park kind of varies because one thing I'm kind of proud of is that we kind of make it 21st century sounding Dixieland, where all the influences are there, but we try to stay true to the style and try to stay true to a bunch of stuff. And you and I both, I think that's our first love, and I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoy jazz so much, is because we started at the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, and we're able to, instead of starting in 1950, like it's mostly taught in the university level. It's you know, that whole progression. And we have a little clip I'd like to play right now of you playing Up the Lazy River.
Oh.
And I was wondering, is that Hoagie?
Hoagie Carmichael.
Yeah, it's Hoagie. So Hoagie Carmichael is one of my favorite composers of that era because he wrote really quirky tunes too. I mean, he's got like that modulation to the 3-chord all the time going on, and all kinds of really adventurous kind of stuff. And the melody on this kind of tune is deceptively hard because it's basically outlining what the chord structure is in a very cool fashion, I think. So let's check it out right now. Quinn, go ahead and throw that up.
again. Am I looking at the right camera this time? Yeah. Oh, that one. Okay. Hello again.
We're trying to run a professional show here.
Yeah, well, that lets me out. John was just talking about the origins of jazz and how important it is to know the history of jazz. I like a wide spectrum of jazz, but I keep going back to the early days and the men and women who originated the music. And one of my heroes was a piano player from New Orleans with the very colorful name of Jelly Roll Morton. He was one of the first great composers in jazz, and he's credited with actually being one of the first great arrangers in jazz, most of his own music. But he knew how to notate it for a jazz band so that it would sound like jazz and come out swinging. This is one of his later ballads, written just a couple years before he died. I think he died in 1941 in Los Angeles, as a matter of fact. He went all over the country. And I've always liked this song. I don't know if my wife will appreciate it as much, but it's called Sweet Substitute. So here we go. Dedicated to Jelly Roll Morton. Let's play a chorus in, and then we'll go back to the verse, huh?
Got it.
Right on it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. My gal went away. You know I missed her every night and day. But I just had to look around. Let me tell you about who I found. She's my sweet substitute. I call her my sweet substitute. She tells me that she's mine, all mine. Does anything I tell her. I guess love is blind. She's got such loving ways, loving ways. She keeps my poor head in a daze. She's my new recruit. Brother, she's so cute. I call her my sweet substitute. I don't need my regular now. She's my sweet substitute. Here's Mark Massey. Look at that. Beautiful, guys. Wow.
Now, we got to move this along because we're up here playing tunes and having fun and everything, but I wanted to get to something that was really important to me, and I think it should be important to all of you guys out there, is your website and the amount of materials that are available on that website. And I really got to hand it to you. Quinn and I were talking about it. Yeah, Tech Sergeant Quinn's here today, too, by the way, everybody out there, so hey, say hey. But we were talking about your website and how well laid out it is, and how it's just, it draws you in. And Doug, do you mind?
I just took a look at it, and someone who tried to build his own website, my hat is off to you. Oh. It is so beautiful. Your website is such a reflection of who you are. You're a writer of both words and music. You're a historian. You're a busy man traveling all over the world, doing what you love to do and what you are exceptional at.
Oh, Doug, do go on. Well, thank you. That's very nice of you. I had a lot of time on my hands there, in 2020.
Okay.
So I decided, hey, now's the time I can maybe get the website in some kind of shape.
It's in great shape. I would say if you want to know who Dan Barrett is, start with his website. It's all on there, and listen. And I'm most impressed with the historical things you've done, preserving the legacy of this great American art form.
I'm sorry, did you say historical or hysterical? I'm not sure.
Historical.
Oh, thank you. Okay. You just reminded me I have to get the calendar page up to date. I haven't. I've been a little delinquent on that, but I'll do that when I go home.
Well, you've been busy. You traveled the whole month of August, and you're working tonight? I said this weekend at
think so.
at the jazz weekend at the Marriott. Maybe that was last year.
No.
Okay.
Last year. Yeah, see? I have to get my calendar page up to date.
Well, it was
yes, I didn't take that down. That's
September
right.
5th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope, I'm off.
Well, we got to hear you here.
Another gig bites the dust.
You're always.
We'll be back soon or no?
Yeah, that's right.
You're always welcome
right.
here.
We haven't mentioned the name of the website. It's www.danbarrettmusic.com.
And Quinn will put a card up for you.
Oh, great. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
And I also have a page at a news site. A friend told me about a site called Bandcamp, all one word. So I sell downloadable tracks at Bandcamp. And thanks for allowing me to plug that.
Sure. It's a great resource.
And one thing I did want to bring up, though, is your charts that are available. And for those of you out there, I've had the pleasure of playing a bunch of dance charts throughout the years, and you need to check this stuff out. But can you go into it? I mean, there's some takedowns, there's some original stuff, there's all kinds of stuff. So, but do you mind kind of going through and giving an overview of the charts that you have available for the audience?
Sure. I'm still getting that part of the website organized. It's in pretty sad disarray right now, but I'm working on it. But just over the years, I started getting interested in arranging in high school. Had a great band director, Richard England, who encouraged me. And as I mentioned to Doug, I grew up listening to music of the earlier era, and part of the attraction were the arrangements. So I would just try and take the records apart, musically speaking, and figure out what made them tick, you know. So the library, such as it is at my website, consists of small group arrangements for 3 horns and rhythm, some octet, 4 horns and rhythm, little big band charts, 6 horns, all the way up to big bands, you know, but a variety of things. And as John mentioned, some takedowns or transcriptions from records. Boy, is that tedious work, let me tell you. But mostly original arrangements or things adapted from recordings that I've loved over the years, and standards, originals, all kinds of stuff. So if you are in need of arrangements for any size group, I might be able to help you there too. Thanks, John.
No, it's absolutely my pleasure. And as I look at the clock now, we're just about there. So we're going to play one more tune for you on the way out. But I'd like to thank my dear friend Dan Barrett for coming in and sharing his life and his music with us. Having just a gas, man. It's been too long. It's just been too long. And Douglas, once again, I think another good one.
It's amazing to hear you play, John.
Oh, well,
thank you.
I was so impressed with you. You actually stepped up and it swung hard, man. Where'd he go? No, it was really great, man. So for everybody out there, no, where are you going? We're gonna sign off. I mean, boy, I got to apologize to everybody out there. Today was a loosey-goosey show, so, this isn't always the way it is. So, I apologize for that, but we're all having a good time up here. That's probably the point.
Maybe it should be.
No. It's numbers, Dan. It's numbers. Anyway. Thank you, Mrs. DeMille. Anyway, so we'll be back next week.
Yes, sir.
And we haven't really decided what that's going to be. But we're kind of laying for another live music show, so make sure you check us out next Sunday. We'll be back again. Any fond farewells you got going on, man?
Just thank you. Thank you, John, for doing this today. It was incredible.
My absolute pleasure, Doug. And want to thank all you out there for tuning in today and hanging with us. And we're going to do one more tune that Dan picked out. It's a little thing called Vic's Spot by Vic Dickinson, right? That's cool. All right, so check this out. And thanks again. Have a wonderful evening and a great barbecue tomorrow, everybody.
Jimmy Ford.
Yes, sir.
You're on deck.
All right.
Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Everybody, thanks.